Okay, hello everyone. I am going to record a class for today. This is intended to be something that first period actually comes to, if possible. I'm not seeing that anyone is making it, which is a little surprising, but maybe it's because y'all think that because normally you would be taking the CMAS, that you wouldn't need to come to this. I could kind of see the logic there. But I'll let this be the one I record, and I'll just do this one solo anyway. If you do show up, though, feel free to ask any questions. Okay, so you should have taken your Chapter 17 vocab quiz by now. That's all you had to do yesterday. I'll accept them for some part of today, but after probably 12 o'clock today, those would be considered late and would be graded differently, or maybe not even at all. But let's see. I believe we finished the Myrmidon story, so we're just going to do some exercises today. It won't take too long, and then a little more practice apparently tomorrow. Maybe 5 more sentences, and then Thursday we will have those like Q&A. So I'll be posting that probably right after I finish recording this, and I'll make them do tomorrow night so that everyone actually has it by the time they are watching the video. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and there will be a translation quiz at the end of the week. So I'll take probably two of those sentences from the homework this week and make a quiz out of them. This is the vocab. Hopefully you guys proved to me that you know it pretty well yesterday. And we're still getting used to qui, quai, quad, this relative pronoun that is translated as who, whose, or whom. It's referring to a person in a main clause, or which or of which if it's referring to a thing in a main clause. So we got these main clauses and these little relative clauses inside of them or next to them that refer to a part of said main clause. Fortunately, we don't have that going on in this first sentence. Since y'all are at home and I know you're bored and you want some things to do, how about y'all go all out writing a vocabulary section to go along with today's sentences, that is, and just track all the words that what is this guy, he's like a executor, is glossing for us. That would be a good idea. And then if you show it to me next week when y'all return, you can get bonus on your homework check. Honestly, if you can remember that, I would make sure to honor that. Okay, so we have centum ex viris mortem diu temebant et nihil clementiae expectabant. All right, so the first thing I'm seeing is a number. It's a number, actually. So what is centum? We get words like century and what else? I can't think of anything else. Century, how many years is that? We also get cent, like a penny. But it means 100. So centum ex viris, we could say quite literally 100 from out of the men, but that sounds pretty clunky. So let's say 100 of the men. And then I see mortem, and my direct object, spidey sense, is tingling. That is from mors mortis, the second word gloss down there, meaning death. Diu is this adverb that I bet a lot of us don't remember yet. It means for a long time. It's one little 3-letter Latin word, but it means a whole prepositional phrase in English. And then timeo timera must be kind of new. It means to fear, like being timid, having timidity. And I see a BA, so I know it's not present tense, but imperfect. All right, so we should get something like 100 of the men feared death for a long time. And we should be very confident about that imperfect tense. Verbs are imperfect when they have a BA in their ending, and they're not imperfect when they don't have a BA, right? Okay, and mortem has a third declension accusative ending, so that's why it is the thing the 100 of men are fearing. 100 of men are fearing, that sounds weird. But the 100 men. You could, if you wanted to, just translate this as like 100 men. That would actually be the same thing. If you think about it and it means the same thing, then it's technically an option. In most cases, kind of. Yeah. Because technically viris is an ablative there. It's an ablative with a cardinal number is its technical term, but it's not a very good technical term. So anyway, and what else? Something about nihil clementiae expectabant. So nihil is the first thing I'm seeing. Nothing? I doubt nothing is the subject. Like if we're entering a second sentence, this isn't a relative clause, no relative clauses here, sadly, then nihil if any, I guess it could be the subject, but what would it be doing if I look at the very last word, expectabant? That just literally means expected. So nothing expected. That sounds weird. So maybe we're keeping the same subject. We're getting a second verb, second part of the sentence, but we're keeping the same subject. So it's 100 of the men still, and we can refer back to them as they, right? They expected or were expecting nothing. Genitive? Because what else could it be? Nothing of mercy? It sounds kind of weird. So you should just say expected no mercy. Literally, it's nothing of mercy. And this is something they bring up in chapter 15 when we find out about like it's called a partitive genitive, but I didn't make a big deal of it because it doesn't show up too much. And if you know it's genitive, you would translate it this way and just realize that nothing of mercy is awkward, I guess. But there was a part of this chapter that pointed out that you can kind of just drop that of. Like if the of sounds really awkward, just drop it, even though you're no longer communicating that something's genitive. Like we understand that no mercy is the same as quote unquote nothing of mercy. All right, so at this point you should have at least 3 words glossed: mors, clementia, and diu. Did diu go away? Yeah, y'all should have diu. I bet you didn't, but you might have known timeo. I think you knew expecto. Just know that it's what it looks like. It is what it looks like. And clementia is relatively new, and not everyone knows the word clemency. It's a fancy word for mercy. Okay, number 2, where matrim timebat. Okay, that's pretty easy. We just saw timeo timera in the last sentence. It means to fear. It's once again imperfect. I guess it was third plural imperfect in this sentence. It's third singular imperfect tense here. So puer is boy. Okay, it's executor misspelled it down there, but the boy feared the mom. Okay, and if I wanted to make it really imperfect sound, I could say was fearing, but you could just say feared, and that's fine. You could even say like is afraid of, but that feels a little different, kind of. Technically, it's fine. But and then quai, so I bet it's going to be who, because we're probably going to talk more about the mom. Like the mom is the antecedent. I guess the boy could be, but probably the mom. And actually, now that I think of it, I see the AE on quai. I see it's feminine, and so it's matching the gender of matrim. So it's got to be going with that. The boy feared the mother who. Am is him. If you don't know that, the rest of this is hard. But if you know that, the rest of this is very easy. Who often, I see site often neglegebat. What does that verb mean? Neglected him. Okay. So we love imperfect verbs in this set of sentences for whatever reason. These are from the exercises in chapter 17, by the way. You could technically follow along with the book if you wanted. But yeah, am is usually him. Sometimes we see it be a demonstrative like this or that. But if it's by itself, meaning there's no accusative around it, it's by him. And I underline the relative clause there. There it is. It's 4 letters long. Quai is the subject of the relative clause. It's referring to matrim. That's the antecedent. Okay. So again, they match in gender and technically number, even though quai can be singular or plural. But whereas matrim is a direct object of the main clause, quai that's referring to it is the nominative subject. The relative clause. Number 3. Let's do 3 more and then we're done. And I will get to the bottom of why no one's here. And if anyone shows up, you should say something so I know that Zoom is actually working. I know not everyone comes to these classes, but I expected like 4 or 5 of y'all. All right, inter omnia pericula is going to be between all dangers, and then femina fortis, the brave woman, singular, a singular woman. So omnia pericula there. Periculum is neuter, so it's plural, and it's not nominative plural, which it could be. It's actually accusative plural. And omnis is from a different declension, but it's going to behave the same way here because their declension neuters they act kind of like second declension neuters, and that they get the A for plural, accusative, or nominative. They're accusative because inter takes an accusative. Between all the dangers, or let's see, all dangers is the best way to do this, because if you say every, you would make danger sound singular. You would say every danger. So you could do that. It's fine. But this way I get to like have my cake and eat it too. I get to translate omnis as all, and I still make periculus on plural, which it is. Anyway, the brave woman, what did she do? She say cum sapientia gessit. Gessit is from gero, gerera. Okay, if it doesn't have the double R's and has double S's instead, it definitely means, or I'm sorry, it's going to be perfect tense. So We had 3 imperfect tense verbs in a row. Now we have a perfect tense. It's definitely not imperfect because it's not gerebat. So let's guess it. You can kind of translate it the same way, though. But I don't see anything about war, so I don't think we're waging war. Maybe manage is better here, or carried. The brave woman, like, carried or has carried. Say, third person personal, reflexive pronoun. Sui, sibi, say means him, her, it, or themselves. So she carried herself, cum sapientia, with patience. Oh, I'm sorry, with wisdom. With wisdom. So has carried, has is the very perfect tensey kind of helping verb, but you could just say carried as though it was imperfect, gerebat, which is fine. And then what case is sapientia there with the macron over the A? It is ablative. It's ablative. And that's an ablative of manner because it is the object of cum. Cum is there in the sentence. It's not the ablative of means. You traditionally apply cum more often in cases where its object is like this abstract thing like wisdom. Whereas if it was like the brave woman carried herself with a sword, which doesn't make sense, that might be means. All right, itaque, and so, Calais rumor. So that's just going to be the swift rumor. And then mortis acris. Mortis, we saw in the first sentence, mors mortis means death. And if it means mors mortis, then what is it here? Must be genitive, right? If the noun's dictionary entry is mors mortis, then mors is the subject form, mortis is the possessive form. So the swift rumor of a fierce death. And then at the end, I see something about per and gentes urbes, something about cities. But concurrit from curri, rather, at the bottom there, the executor is glossing it's the last word, means to run. And when it gets this doubled up first syllable, when it goes from curra to kukuri, that's when you know it's perfect tense. And so that's going to be like ran or has run. So the swift runner of a fierce death ran is through the huge cities. In gentes urbes, what case are those? They are accusative because they're objects of per. So per takes accusative. What else? We saw post, I think. We've seen some accusative taking prepositions. That's when I bust out the orange. And then concurrent was perfect tense, which I'm using purple for today. All right, okay, let's do this one real quick. Quonium is since. I bet a lot of y'all don't know that. You can write that down. It's a conjunction. Since. The memory, which just means memory. A lot of people last week didn't know factum, facti, it's deed. So the memory of our deeds. Dulcis est is sweet. So it's actually a very straightforward sentence. It just starts with a word that might throw you off. And then some people forget noster, nostra, nostrum. It's not glossed for us, but it means our. Okay, what about this? Now, sumus. A lot of people would get thrown off on sumus. It's just the plural of sum. So I know that might not help, but sum means I am. It's the first singular of sumessa, to be. So sumus, make it plural, not I am, but we are, right? So now we are happy, and agamus at the end, taking a period of time. So sometimes ago agora is to do or act, but when its object is like a period of time, it can be spend or pass or even lead. So I went with pass, easy old age, facilum senectutem. How else could you could say spend agreeable old age. It feels slightly awkward no matter what, but this works. And let's see, ago agra. That's actually future tense. Uh-oh. That's a good place for me to stop. I made a typo, kind of. Ago agra, if it's third conjugation, this E means future tense. So we would say we will now. Oh, wait, no. Sumus is present. We are now happy in the present and will in the future pass. Easy. I like agreeable better. Oculus can be agreeable, kind of like I think Dulcis could also be agreeable. Eucundus. All right, guys. No one showed up. Maybe did y'all get off quarantine and y'all just like are here today taking your test? Who knows? But all 1.5 classes can use this. I will post the homework probably like right now, and we'll do a little more practice tomorrow at the same time, and maybe some of y'all will actually show up. All right, bye.